The topic of my project is essentially the beauty of the countryside, describing in a visual form of communication the natural wonders of the great outdoors. As someone who recently moved from the country, I was saddened that I could no longer see these sights every day like I used to, and realised that people living in the city would rarely see these sort of surroundings at all. So I suppose my intended viewing audience for the project would be people living in the city or suburbs and hope to move out to the countryside. I'm hoping that through this series, people looking into moving to the country will realise that it isn't just acres upon acres of open field and farmland, and that there are lots of beauty that accompanies it. I'm hoping to instill a sense of warmth, relaxation and freedom into those who view this project, which would be achieved through the lighting and shot composition. The designated audience would need to be assured that there is a huge benefit in terms of natural scenery that accompanies a move to the country, which would be achieved through these visual communications. Unfortunately, the week in which I chose to shoot this project was fairly sullen weather-wise, which restricted my natural lighting opportunities. However, I did my best to work with what I had. I utilised the natural lighting where I could to create a warm, vibrant colours for my shot. I have also utilised the kick style of lighting scheme in several photos to create a warm glow against the almost silhouetted foreground. This was achieved by shooting later in the day, a time when the sun had set behind the mountains to create a slightly silhouetted effect. I've also photographed areas that include many cool colours such as green and blue to contrast with the warm lighting. This is to create a calm and relaxed environment to add to the welcoming atmosphere created by the warm glow of the sun. In terms of shot composition, I opened the scene fairly wide and chose to photograph locations that were as open as possible to influence a feeling of freedom and to avoid the feeling of being trapped. The viewpoint is predominantly frontal to describe the scene, however it varies throughout the series to accommodate the best possible lighting scenario. The warm, vibrant lighting used is appropriate for the intended audience as it is welcoming and relaxing. It's aimed to draw them in and make the idea of living in the country appealing to them. As mentioned previously, it also adds to the cool colours already found in the shot, which creates a combination of both warmth and relaxation. By opening the scene as wide as possible, the audience will be instilled with a sense of freedom, a life with no constraints. We want the audience to realise that there is a life outside of the busy city streets and the confines of a suburban home. Hopefully the visual languages that have been utilised help create an atmosphere that contrasts that of one in a busier environment.